I'm going to tell you in 20 minutes what took me well over 40 years to fully comprehend. And what I'm telling you in this video has completely changed my life. And I mean in every way, in every aspect, in every category of my life. I have completely transformed it. But it doesn't have to take you the over 40 years to figure it out. If you'll watch this video with an open mind and give it a chance, you can change yours as well. And I don't mean just nuances of change or nuances about your personality. I mean completely have a 180 in any category. First of all, let me just say, how you doing? I'm Kimberly, and I'm pretty obsessed with getting what I want, knowing everything there is to know about conscious manifestation. So if that interests you, I would love for you to subscribe and come back and see me and let me know that you are my new friend. I'm also going to let you know that, yes, it's taken me over 40 years to comprehend what I'm about to talk about, but I'm not. I'm 50, but it was 42 when I first found conscious manifestation. And over the last 8 years of my life, I have radically changed myself and the world around me. What I came to learn is that consciousness is the only reality. The reality, the 3D around me that I believed was the one true reality, the one true option, the one timeline, based off of all the choices I had made in my life that had led me down a path of, at the time, I would have told you the unfairness, bad choices, and unfairness, and that I was living a life I didn't love. When I discovered conscious manifestation and I really grasped what Neville Goddard was trying to say, all that you behold, though it appears without, it is within. In your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. I thought that was crazy when I first heard it. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, snake oil, all the words, all the phrases. I started giving that a chance. I felt completely unfulfilled in my love life, unfulfilled financially. The only light I had in my life was my son. That was all I had. At least that's what I would have told you. I wanted to stop existing. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to be like the other people I saw around me who were happy, because I never felt truly happy. That's who I am now. I wanted to become a version of myself that was in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship. I wanted to feel abundant. I wanted to enjoy what I did for a living. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to see my son thrive. I wanted my family and friends to thrive. I had to change what I was thinking about all these areas of my life. At first, I thought it was crazy. It didn't feel like anything was changing. In fact, there were moments where it felt like my life went backwards. I cared a little bit too much about other people's opinions about my life, what decisions I should make. I had guilt over prior decisions that I had made throughout my existence. So I carried a lot of guilt and shame until the full understanding of my consciousness is who I really am. That's the soul, the spirit, consciousness. What you believe that is in connection with is up to you. I call it God, universe, higher power, source energy. Every single thing I had been experiencing up until that point was a reflection of who I sincerely believed I was. So that's what had to change. I had to start telling a new story about myself. My instinct was, I'm going to test this. I'm going to test this manifestation law of assumption stuff. I'm going to test it before I trust it, before I go all in, before I give myself completely to it. So in a sense, I wanted to keep one foot in my old reality and one foot in the hopeful, maybe my life can change. because based on the education that I had, I wasted a lot of years changing my major a million times. A million times. So at best, I had my 2-year associate's degree, and judging in the direction I wanted to go, that looked like a limit. That looked like a limit, like that wasn't good enough. Well, that's because I didn't believe I was good enough. I listened to what the outside world told me, what was possible for me. Knowing that I am consciousness allowed me to step into the door of possibility. Maybe it's possible my life can change. Maybe I'm actually not worthless. Maybe my past doesn't have to hold me back or limit me anymore. It wasn't an overnight success. I wasn't, overnight changing radically. It took me a little while, but the more I gave to this, to deciding that I'm going to become a new person. I'm going to become a new identity. I'm going to be a new me. I didn't know how. I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know if I was making the right decisions. But at the end of the day, what I knew was I'm not going to let the past hold me back anymore. I'm not going backward, and I'm not listening to anybody else out in this world at all unless they are of the same thinking that this is possible. I made a decision with conviction. I will tell you that they weren't always perfect moments. There were moments of lots of emotions. But from the girl that first found Neville Goddard at 42 versus the girl that'll be 51 in May, I am nothing like that 42-year-old. I am nothing like her anymore. I was regularly negative, believed the world was out to get me. I didn't think very much of myself or my appearance, but I wanted the change in my life more than I wanted to sit and suffer and focus on what didn't work out for me. I wanted the change more. I wanted to be happy more. So every time I fell down, I got back up. And me sharing this is not to try to point out to you how great my life is. My point is, it doesn't have to take you over 40 years. And granted, if you're in that age group or older watching this, good. All that time before doesn't have to be held against you anymore. It's not too late for you, just like it wasn't too late for me. If you've got the willingness to try, if you've got the willingness to allow yourself to drop stories on who you used to be, if you will trust that your imagination is not just pretending, it's not play, it's not fantasy. You see, that was the other thing I learned that took me over 40 years to learn. Is my imagination is what was manifesting the world around me. This is the first time you've ever hearing about manifestation. I know it sounds crazy. I promise you it's not. It's not crazy. It's life-changing information. One thing I really strongly encourage you to listen to is, as Neville Goddard also said, stop trying to change the world since it is only the mirror. Man's attempt to change the world by force is as fruitless as breaking a mirror in the hope of changing his face. Neville Goddard. I'm sharing that with you because I was always trying to change the outside world. I was always focusing on how I was going to make those changes, what my next step was going to be, on how to force things to work out for me in 3D reality. Oh, I had to come to the understanding, back to the consciousness. My conscious awareness is what was bringing to me the things that I thought needed to change. The only thing that needed to change was my own thinking, was the stories I was telling myself. If you're new to this, hey, pay attention. Isn't there always chatter going on in your mind? Do you catch yourselves having conversations with yourself? Maybe you even catch yourself replaying arguments with other people or preparing for the arguments. All of that inner chatter was bringing me a life of turmoil. So that's what needed to change. I had to stop having conversations in my head that the world was against me, that I was never going to find love, that I would always be broke. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard in order to be successful. You need a master's degree to be successful. All the things that the 3D told me, I had to actively choose to stop talking that way to myself. I had to stop trusting things in my world that felt limiting, that felt like they were holding me back. So it took me to make my own conscious decision to change. There were uncomfortable moments. Don't let the discomfort discourage you out of doing this. You're putting yourself first, and that's what we need to be first to get the reality to change around you. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to test this law first. Before I was really going to give into this or buy into conscious manifestation, I wanted to test it first. Now, if you're not new to my channel, you've heard me say, well, test the law to build your faith. But be aware, this is why there are more than one scientist who bring up the point that it's impossible to test consciousness because it's consciousness testing itself. You can't step outside of your awareness to test it objectively or to analyze it objectively. You can't stop being consciousness. Now, that might sound discouraging, but it's also encouraging because you're going to drop the story that you're testing manifestation, that you're testing the law of assumption. Man moves in a world that is nothing more or less than his consciousness objectified. Trying to test consciousness is like a dream character trying to prove the dreamer exists. It's all the same consciousness. Think about it. Every single dream you have, when you have dreams about other people that you actually know in your dreams. If you believe they're just dreams, then where do those people actually exist? But when you're dreaming, they feel pretty real, don't they? But they were your own consciousness objectified. That is exactly what this life is. Everything and everyone is your consciousness objectified. The people in your life, in your reality, the versions they show up are the reflection of your consciousness. This is the first time you're hearing about this stuff. Again, I'm going to say, I know it sounds crazy. I encourage you to open the door and allow yourself to open up your mind to the idea that you are determining reality around you by what you allow yourself to continuously focus on. I often hear about people being, not exactly happy with how things are in the world today. And they have their list of reasons why things aren't that great. While there are other people on the other side of the coin who are very happy with the world today. Who's right? Who's wrong? What you focus on is what you'll keep experiencing. So if you keep focused on fears, on doubts, on limits, you'll keep experiencing evidence of these things. Took me over 40 years to really comprehend that. If I keep my conscious awareness, your conscious awareness is you. It's who is thinking, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. It's the you, it's the essence, it's the spirit, it's the soul, it's who you are. So the more I allow in my awareness, and by allow, I mean what I choose consciously on purpose to keep focusing on, is what will be my experience. So when we're not happy, when we wish life would change, if there are aspects in our life that are not fulfilling, it's time for you to start focusing on the life you would prefer, the life you would desire. I thought that was crazy. I thought the things that I wanted were impossible. And I also thought it had a lot to do with my age at the time. I was 42. I'm about to be 51. I was 42. I thought my life had already passed me by. And it was too late to experience the things I wanted. They were never going to happen. I should have finished college correctly in my early 20s. I should have done this. I should have done that. I had to stop telling that story. I had to stop agreeing with it. Every time I agreed with it, what I was doing is I was solidifying myself in that reality, on that timeline. I cannot stress to you that it's not too late for anything. I don't care how old you are. It is not too late. You're coming across this video. If you've never watched any of my other content, you're coming across it for a reason. There are no coincidences. There are no coincidences. You're meant for a life of joy, of a life of happiness. And it doesn't matter where you start from. It doesn't matter what your prior decisions were. So if you're holding yourself back with guilt and shame, like I did, I invite you, I encourage you to stop telling that story and start choosing differently for yourself. And all it takes is a decision to allow yourself to focus on exactly who you would love to be and what that looks like, what you think that would feel like. And if you allow yourself to keep focusing there and you don't allow what your current life is, what people in your current life say to you, if you don't allow that to deter you anymore, I'm telling you, your world will change too. But it takes the decision. It takes the decision. Like I said, you didn't come by this video by coincidence. You were meant to hear it. And maybe you've been allowing your past to hold you back. Maybe you think you're too old to make a change. You're too old to find love. You're too old to bring abundance in your life. Lies, lies, lies. Stop telling yourself lies. What did I learn in 42 years? I learned that I have a choice. I have a choice, and so do you. And I am worthy and deserving of a life that I want to live, a life that I'm happy to wake up to. And you deserve that too. So that's the story we need to start telling. We are more than enough for it. We are worthy and deserving of it. And it's never too late to start. So on that note, I would love to think that it is this video that woke you up to conscious awareness and conscious manifestation. And I hope you give it a chance because it will change your life. And just for what it's worth, you've been unconsciously manifesting your entire life. The beliefs, your belief system, your own programming, it was placed upon you as a child. And we've built upon that over life with other experiences. But it's not a programming that cannot be changed. In fact, your awareness is bigger than that programming. This is what I meant when I said your consciousness is connected to the all, to the absolute. You are conscious first, then thought. We have to be. So your spirit is first, then the choice, then the decision. You're limited by nothing. So you do have a choice of what beliefs belong to you now. Give this a try. I'm telling you, you're doing it anyway. The difference is now you have a choice over what beliefs you're choosing for yourself. Make the decision. Make the decision to focus on being the version of you always wanted to be, because it's not impossible. It's not too far away. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a clear-cut plan on how to get there. You don't need to know that. The how is not for us to focus on, but that's a whole different video. We don't have to know the exact plan. We just have to know who we want to be. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.